Late at night, my 4-year-old daughter woke me up. There's a baby in the garden. When I went to check, there was indeed an unfamiliar baby crying in our yard. My husband and I exchanged some looks. Then our daughter said something strange. This baby is saying, "She's my sister." Beside our daughter, who was beaming with joy, my husband turned pale and started sweating profusely. I didn't miss that. Could this possibly be? From here, things would take a tumultuous turn. I'm Rachel, 32 years old. I'm married to Sam, who is 3 years older, and we have a 4-year-old daughter named Noah. We're a family of 3. Rachel, our daughter. Noah seems to have said strange things again. It happens every day that my husband sighs in a bewildered tone, looking at me and our daughter Noah. In fact, my daughter seems to have a mysterious ability to communicate with animals and babies. At first, I didn't believe it either, but it seems too coincidental to dismiss. For instance, there was a time when my daughter was murmuring something to the neighbor's dog and suddenly, she looked up with sparkling eyes. Hey, the bakery is coming soon. The dog says it smells like bread. Noah wants bread. I tilted my head at my daughter's peculiar words, and then, moments later, the bakery van indeed passed by. I was taken aback. Then, on the day we went to visit relatives to see their newborn baby who was only 6 months old, my daughter was murmuring to the baby and giggling. This baby hid something shiny under the sofa as a prank. Half believing, I peeked under the sofa, and there was the ring our relatives cherished but thought was lost. There are countless examples like that, but my husband never believed in our daughter's abilities. Rachel, Noah, don't say things like that to other people because it's embarrassing. But I truly believe that our daughter had some kind of mysterious power. Though I just don't want Noah to be looked at strangely or misunderstood and hurt by others. With that in mind, I made a promise not to mention to anyone outside the house that Noah talked to animals or babies. Noah was a well-behaved child and always kept to my request. During this time, my husband, who already had frequent business trips, was away from home about 3 days a week. As a result, I found myself mostly raising our energetic daughter on my own while juggling work. It was honestly quite challenging, but whenever my husband was home, I made an effort to ensure he could relax and unwind. The beginning of the matter was a year ago. One day, out of the blue, $5,000 was withdrawn from our joint account. It was the money we had saved for our daughter's education. I was shocked and confronted my husband when he returned home from work. "Hey Sam, what did you spend our important money on?" When I pressed him for answers, my husband shrugged apologetically and said, "Please forgive me. I had an accident during my business trip and I suddenly needed money." "What? So are you okay?" "Yeah, but the car got a little damaged, so it's in the repair shop. I think it'll take about 3 days. Indeed, his car was missing from our parking lot. "Well, if you were fine, then I guess nothing could be done about it." I just told my husband to put the money back into the joint account later and decided not to blame him further. However, from that day on, his behavior gradually became more and more strange. One day, he would say there was trouble at work. Another day, he would say he lent money to a friend who was in financial trouble, constantly finding reasons to borrow money from me. "Please, I swear I'll pay you back next." In the end, I believed him and continued to hand over $500 from my own wallet to him every month. However, with each passing day, my dissatisfaction with him only grew. "There's no sign of you giving me money back at all. How long am I supposed to wait?" "I'll pay you back on next month's payday." I heard that same promise last month though. It felt like I was being brushed off, and I couldn't help but let out a deep sigh. Despite lending him money separately from our monthly allowance, my husband always complained about not having enough. "I can't lend you money anymore. First, you need to pay back the $5,000 you withdrew from the account. That's exactly why I'm in a tight spot right now. If I can't borrow from you, I'll have to borrow from a consumer finance company." Wait, are you kidding me? I was told this, and unable to refuse, I reluctantly had to take out money from my own wallet again. This is getting really suspicious. There's no way there are work troubles every month or that friends keep needing money. The distrust towards my husband gradually grew stronger, and I sometimes felt stomach pains from stress. One late night during those days of hardship, my daughter woke me up. Mom, wake up. There's a baby in the garden." "No way, Noah. You must be dreaming." I tried to go back to sleep, but my daughter persistently shook me. What's going on? Stop making noise. My husband, who had been peacefully sleeping, grumpily scolded Noah. But then we clearly heard the sound of a baby crying. No way, could it be a neighbor's baby? I'm telling you, there's a baby in the garden. We have to go quickly. With that, our daughter dashed out of the bedroom. As my husband and I followed her, she headed towards the balcony overlooking the garden. The cries grew louder and louder as we reached the balcony. We saw a baby wrapped in a blanket in our illuminated backyard. Who would leave a baby in our garden? Even if it's a prank, this is inexcusable. While we were stunned and bewildered by the surprise, our daughter jumped for joy. She says she is Noah's sister, yay? Wait, what? Don't say weird things. I was taken aback, but my husband scolded our daughter a bit too loudly. Despite that, our daughter stood confidently with her hands on her hips, looking up at my husband. It's true. This baby is Noah's sister, she said, refusing to back down. My mind was in turmoil, and I could only watch in astonishment as the two argued. Then my husband's phone, which was in his pocket, vibrated. I didn't miss the moment he looked at the screen, his eyes widening and his face turning pale. What's with that expression just now? I wondered, but it wasn't the time to dwell on such things. Hey, we need to contact the police first. Wait, let's bring this baby inside first. It must be cold, being left outside at night, right? Yeah, in this situation, it's normal to contact the police. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about my husband. Behavior with suspicion lingering, I carried the baby inside, gently wrapped her in a blanket, and comforted her. If I were to believe in my daughter's mysterious power and her words, then there's no doubt this baby is my daughter's sister. However, I haven't been pregnant or given birth after Noah, which means I didn't want to believe it, but considering Sam's suspicious behavior so far, it's just too suspicious. While maintaining a calm demeanor so as not to arouse my husband's suspicions, I resolved to uncover the truth. I'll take her to the police in the morning, my husband said. Following my husband's words, I decided to take care of the baby at our home for tonight. I have work tomorrow, but I feel sick because of this strange baby. I'll go to bed first. So take care of that kid, will you? Without taking any responsibility, my husband hurried back to the bedroom, as if fleeing from the situation. Normally, I would be angry, but at that moment, I saw an opportunity. While my husband slept, I completed all the necessary preparations. I just need to reveal the truth. Even though I was thinking this, I couldn't hide my inner turmoil, and my hands trembled with anxiety. Sensing my troubled emotions, my daughter gently took hold of my hand, offering me comfort. It's okay, Mom. Noah is on your side. Thank you, Noah. Perhaps my daughter didn't fully understand what was happening between me and my husband, but even so, for my daughter's sake, I gathered my resolve to confront my husband and clarify everything. And so, the long night came to an end and we welcomed the next morning. As soon as my husband woke up, he seemed quite flustered. I've been called into work suddenly. When I come back home, I'll go to the police, so please take care of the baby during the day. With those words, he hurriedly left without even having breakfast. Take care, have a safe. I saw him off with a smile, just like always. As soon as Sam left the house and drove away, I took action immediately. First, I drove my daughter and the baby to my parents' house, which was about an hour away by car. Then I took out my smartphone. Actually, while my husband was sleeping, I had unlocked his phone with his fingerprint and installed a GPS tracker. I relied on it to drive my own car and head to the location it indicated. I arrived at an old brick apartment building, not knowing which room it was. I walked slowly, listening intently at each door. Eventually, I heard the sound of a heated argument between a man and a woman coming from a room on the ground floor. I'm asking you, what were you thinking about leaving the baby at our place? And what's with that message? The voice accusing the other was unmistakably my husband's. Just as it says, I wrote, take care of the child, didn't I? Did you even bother to read the message properly, or are you just incapable of understanding? The woman's voice retorting against my husband was shrill, echoing all the way to the outside of the entrance. I listened for a while, but their argument showed no signs of ending anytime soon. I'm sure this is the place. With that certainty, I grabbed the doorknob of the room where the voices of the argument were coming from. The door swung open forcefully as it seemed to be unlocked. Inside, my husband looked startled as he saw me. Rachel, what are you doing here? Hello, Monica. Thank you always for taking care of my husband. I politely greeted the mistress, ignoring my flustered husband, and closed the front door. Monica seemed quite shaken by my sudden appearance. Ha! How do you know my name? I won't say who, but I heard about you too from some little girl. Using the mysterious power my daughter, Noah, possessed, I had managed to gather some information from the baby about the situation. Apparently my husband Sam met you, Monica, at the bar where you worked and where he entertained his business clients. You got close and had a child together. Why the hell do you know about that? Have you hired a detective or something? I can't believe this. While my husband was clearly flustered, the mistress, on the other hand, seemed composed, almost brazen. Sam, all the money you've been taking from me, it was for the baby's birth, expenses and child support. Wasn't it? Well, not only that, but you're living with Monica, aren't you? There were sandals and shoes in the entrance which seemed to belong to my husband. As I went to pick them up, Sam quickly snatched them from me. Your suspicious behavior is the biggest evidence, Sam. As I glared at him, my husband trembled and turned pale. Sam had been using the $5,000 he withdrew from our savings for Monica's childbirth expenses, including hospitalization and the cesarean section surgery. Additionally, he had been paying her $500 a month as child support. On top of that, he had been lying about business trips and spending 3 days a week at his mistress's house. I had been thoroughly deceived all this time. When I said it, my husband was shocked, as if wondering how I knew. He stood there with his mouth half open. So, about the truth behind this baby, I know it's caused by the fact Monica is engaged to the CEO of a venture company, right? Huh. You left the baby at our place because she was getting in the way, didn't you? After leaving the baby on our doorstep, late at night, she sent a message to my husband. I saw that message with my own eyes. When he unlocked his phone, he probably never expected that I knew all this. My husband's expression was startled, and he instinctively reached for the pocket where he had his phone. The reason you desperately tried to stop me from contacting the police was because of that, right? How much do you know? Sweat started to bead on my husband's forehead, looking like a frog stared down by a snake. Amidst this, the mistress began glancing at her watch repeatedly. Hey, could you take your marital disputes elsewhere? It's almost time for my date, so could you two just leave now? Well, you're talking as if it's none of your business after getting involved with someone else's husband. Do you really think you won't face any consequences? It's not like that. I was just having fun with Sam. I thought it was a mistake when I got pregnant, but now that I'm going to be the wife of a CEO, I'll just reset everything. My husband seemed shocked by Monica's selfish remarks and was left speechless. Speechless? There's no way I'll accept that. What were you thinking dumping the baby onto me like that? Shut up. Besides, it's your fault for getting me pregnant in the first place. Come on. Hurry up and put on your shoes. Monica continued to push my husband without any hesitation. You are the father, so you should take responsibility and raise the child. Your daughter at home will be happy to have a little sister, won't she? As a parent with a daughter of my own, I couldn't forgive such remarks and found myself clenching my fists tightly. At that moment, I considered slapping this woman, but then I heard the sound of a car engine. I opened the door and looked out onto the road where a luxury car was approaching the apartment. The car pulled up right next to the apartment. Monica, I came to pick you up since you didn't show up at our meeting spot, a man said as he stepped out of the car. Oh no, you're already here. Judging by the mistress's panicked reaction, this man must be her new fiancé, the CEO of the venture company. At that moment, I had a brilliant idea. Nice to meet you. Actually, my husband has been taken care of by Monica. I spoke loudly and cheerfully, and the fiancé seemed bewildered. Huh? Oh really? While Monica tried to stop me in a panic, still trying to put on her shoes, I quickly approached the man. Actually, Last night, Monica left a baby born between her and my husband in our backyard. So that's why I came to hear the situation with my husband. Before Monica, who had rushed over, could cover my mouth, I blurted out the truth. The fiancé was surprised. Huh? I heard Monica was single, he said with suspicion. That's a lie. Everything this woman says is nonsense. So don't believe her. Monica desperately tried to make excuses while sweating profusely, but the CEO of the venture company wanted to hear the details. So I told him everything I knew. During this time, Monica tried to deceive, somehow, but I managed to overpower her and reveal everything. What kind of woman are you? The man said coldly to Monica. I don't want a liar like you. Don't ever contact me again. He got into his car and drove off. As the CEO of a venture company, he probably wanted to avoid such scandals. Wait, there's more to this. Please let me explain. Monica tried to cling onto the car, but when I stopped her fiancé drove off without even opening the window. No, my bright future as the CEO's wife. With a thud, Monica dropped to her knees and sat down on the spot, realizing what had just happened. Then she quickly looked at Sam. Hey Sam, I'm sorry. Let's continue to get along well, okay? Let's take back the child from this woman and live happily together as a family of three. She leaned into her husband's chest, looking up at him with a pleading gaze. What kind of person is she? I didn't steal her baby. She's the one who irresponsibly left the baby in our yard. I was gaping at her sudden change in attitude, and it seemed Sam had had enough of being manipulated by Monica. Furrowing his brow, he glared at her. Enough. I can't deal with you anymore. Sam pushed away the mistress who had clung to him. She had a fierce expression, like a demon. Huh? I'm saying, I'm going back with you, Monica? Furious, Monica scratched her husband's face with her nails, sparking a violent fight between them. While I watched in silence for a while, there was no sign of it ending. It takes two to tango, I sighed deeply, realizing I didn't want to get any further involved in their fight. I purposely clapped my hands loudly. All right, that's enough, both of you. Feeling exhausted, I stopped them, fed up with the chaos. Anyway, I'll be demanding compensation for the affair from both of you, Sam, plus a divorce settlement. Hold on a second. Don't talk about breaking up. This is not a joke. I don't have any money to pay compensation. Though they initially protested against me, they gradually quieted down under my stern gaze. Rachel, I'm truly sorry. I'll break up with this woman. So please forgive me. I'm not joking. Don't you understand? I just had enough of you. Please let's talk alone. No, I won't. After all that has happened, there's no way I could forgive you. I showed my unwavering determination with a firm attitude. Ma'am, I'll take care of the baby myself. So could we please skip the compensation? Raising your own child is your responsibility as a parent, isn't it? But I won't listen to any excuses, I said with anger in my voice. My husband and his mistress finally knelt down and begged for forgiveness. Seeing them like that, I realized that I had completely lost any feelings for my husband. Regret your actions and pay the compensation, even if you have to borrow money. I can't bear not seeing Noah's face again. It's your own fault. Don't come near me. My husband, who had been kneeling, now tightly grasped my hand and looked at me with eyes full of sorrow. Rachel, listen carefully. Noah will be sad if we get divorced. Using our daughter as a shield like that, that's your despicable side, isn't it? Don't worry. I'll make sure she forgets the face of the father who cheats. When I said that so coldly, his grip loosened, so I seized the opportunity to shake him off. If you leave me, what am I supposed to do in the future? Survive on your own. Goodbye, I'll mail the divorce papers to you later. As I walked away, leaving the two of them behind, I felt a strange sense of relief. Kneeling at the entrance, I noticed at 2538 a crowd had gathered around the apartment. The door was left wide open so everyone heard everything. Huh? My. The place was flooded with people, presumably residents of the apartment or neighbors, murmuring things like it's an affair, or well, isn't that shameful? With so many onlookers witnessing the whole affair, it would be quite challenging for the mistress to continue living in this apartment. Honestly, I don't care what happens to her. I quickly left the scene and drove back to my parents' house where I had left my daughter and the baby. Afterward, I received a total of $50,000 in compensation from both of them. Furthermore, I divorced my husband and obtained custody of our daughter, so I ended up raising her at my parents' house. Consequently, I entrusted my parents with childcare during the day while I worked. Moreover, since the mistress refused to care for the baby she left in the garden, I decided to take the child in and raise them myself. Anyway, I'm constantly amazed by how hopeless Monica is. In the end, my husband and Monica, who were in that apartment, couldn't bear the gossip from the neighbors and moved elsewhere. I heard through the grapevine, however, that they continued to argue incessantly and soon parted ways, each struggling to repay their debts. I named the baby Lucy, and she is growing healthy and strong. My daughter seems very happy to have a little sister. She says she's happy to have a kind mom. I decided in my heart to cherish both of my precious children.